Right, so the confusion regarding the release of the budget iPad continues, and so let's delve into it. So in case you weren't aware, we usually see the budget iPads release at every September event, and that's been the case since 2019, but there's been some recent reports regarding this iPad releasing at an October event instead. And this actually kinda made sense for two reasons. Number one, iPadOS 16 was supposed to release in September, but was instead pushed back for an October release, and so I could see Apple releasing this budget iPad to coincide with the iPadOS 16 release. But more importantly, there has been a power outage in parts of China where they make these iPads, and if power does not come back to these places by August 20, this could mean iPad shipments could face major delays. And so maybe Apple thought that it would be risky to announce this at the September event since there are supply issues, and so releasing this with the M2 iPads and the iPadOS 16 release in October could make sense. But as is the norm in the world of Apple leaks, we now have another source completely going against these previous reports and telling us the budget iPad should release at the September event and production is underway. Now to be fair, this comes from DigiTimes, a not so credible source, so do take this with a grain of salt, especially when they say this iPad's in production, but they also agree there's power outages in parts of China like previous reports had suggested. And so how exactly is production underway when there's a power shortage? Yeah, I'm not too sure myself, but I guess DigiTimes not too concerned about the power outage, and they must believe this short-term delay is not going to massively push back the release of this budget iPad. Now to be honest, I do still find it very hard to believe this is going to be the case. An October release still makes the most sense, especially when those reports come from more credible sources, but I do want to give DigiTimes one thing, and that is, Gurman was completely wrong about the iPad 9 release last year. He said that would release at an October event, but no, we saw that release in September instead, and so that could be the case once again. Now I do want to mention there is a possibility that Apple announces this iPad at the September event and then releases it to the public in October, because Apple has done this in the past with both the iPad Air 4 and the Apple Watch Series 7, so if this iPad is facing supply constraints, I could see Apple doing that. Anyways, as for other details in this report, they do say we can expect major design changes, but they failed to elaborate what exactly these major design changes are going to be, since there has been confusion regarding this. We've had some expecting a full redesign that's going to be similar to the iPad Air 4, then of course we had those MySmart price cards showing us a hybrid design, and then Gurman also adds to this confusion by telling us there won't be a redesign. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure who's right. We'll have to wait and see the final product. But the changes most have agreed upon are the fact we're going to get the A14 chip in this, also 5G support, a USB-C port, and a larger display that could be 10.5 inches. Anyways, let's delve into your comments regarding this base iPad. So Chill With Me says, I'm a bit confused, why not get the iPad Air 4 instead? It's $400 right now on Amazon, and yes, the iPad Air 4 deals right now are pretty great, but do remember these deals don't last forever, so by the time we get the iPad 10, this might not be the case. But also do remember there are still many consumers who just go to Apple for iPads and see what they offer without looking for deals elsewhere, so of course for that market a small price hike with the base iPads really won't be a massive issue, especially if we do get a new design. But of course if that's not the case and we either get no redesign or a hybrid redesign of sorts with a price hike, then yeah, this won't be as great of a deal, but again, there is going to be a large portion of consumers who don't look for deals elsewhere and just buy this iPad directly from Apple because it's still their cheapest iPad. So regarding the MySmart price cards, Prote says, bro, this design looks very, very ugly. Probably the ugliest design I have ever seen. Now, I won't say this is ugly, but I will say this looks like a cursed concept you find on Twitter, because the combination of the iPad 9 front with the flat sides of the iPad and the Pro look pretty weird. So C says, with this iPad, get the smart connector. Now, I do think whether we get a redesign or not, the smart connector is going to stay with the iPads, since this needs to connect to accessories like keyboards, and so we do need the smart connector for that. Really what's in the air right now is whether, of course, we see the smart connector on the sides, like the current design for the smart keyboards, or we see on the back for Magic Keyboard support, in which case we should get flat sides, and a redesign of sorts. So Pootrich says, will the 10th gen iPad support the 2nd and 3rd generation iPen? I'm assuming that's Apple Pencil, and then says, will the A15 be enough for Lightroom and Photoshop? Now, to answer the first part of the question, the 3rd gen Apple Pencil does not exist, and even if Apple does release it, I'm assuming it's going to be exclusive to the iPad Pros, and so really there's only a chance we see the 2nd gen Pencil with this iPad, and not any new 3rd gen Pencil instead. And regarding the second part, we should see the A14 chip in this, not the A15, but do not worry because I think the A14 should be more than fine for photo editing, since I do remember the A14 in the iPad Air being very good when it came to performance. So Thomas says he's more bothered by the lack of stereo speakers than the lack of a panel that's laminated, and while he does not think quad speakers are coming to the base iPads, he is hoping for speakers similar to the iPad Air 5. And yeah, fair enough, the base iPad does need better speakers, and I would be happy with the iPad Air 5 layout. I was very happy with those speakers. However, if I were to choose one upgrade, I would still go for a panel that's laminated over a speaker upgrade, because while I could use AirPods and live with the worst speakers, I can't live with a panel that's laminated. The display gap does make a massive difference in my opinion, so I'm hoping that, of course, Apple can finally fix this with the budget iPad. And yes, I know a panel that's not laminated is easy to fix, but ultimately the pros outweigh the cons in my opinion, so yes, I'm still hoping we get this. Anyways, that's about it guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding these reports in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding the M2 iPad Pros, and on that note, see ya peeps.